The International Monetary Fund has warned that the economic crisis in Ukraine could have severe consequences if swift action isn't taken. Kiev is now being pressured by creditors to make deep budget cuts in exchange for the first tranche of a promised rescue package of up to $18 billion. Well, earlier I went through the details of this with Katie Pilbeam, host of Venture Capital. The chief of the IMF was sending out a tough message, wasn't she, this week, about the global economy?
It was indeed. She spoke about those broader spillover implications on the global economy, and she referred to the up to $18 billion that the IMF is going to loan Kiev. But she did make it adamantly clear that Kiev is far from its goal.
IMF money does not come free. The IMF lends financing to countries, provided that countries do for themselves what they need to do to restore the economy, to be able to finance themselves without our support.
So that cash comes at a cost. So what does Ukraine have to do to get it?
Indeed. Well, I'd say suffer, actually. The ousted President, Viktor Yanukovych, he did not take an IMF loan back in August. It was rejected because he said that the implications would be too severe on the economy. And that's exactly some 6 months later what Kiev is going to have to endure. So let's have a look at some of those cuts specifically then. So we're going to have medication costs go up 10%, gas some 50% in prices, as well as fuel up 50% too, and inflation set to reach around 14%. Also a cut in wages, pensions, more income taxes that Kiev people have got to look forward to. Ukrainians.
Yeah, look forward to. I mean, those figures are daunting, aren't they?
Indeed they are. It is going to really suffer, actually. And that's because the economy, as well as these cuts, is going to contract some 3% this year. Now, Christine Lagarde, she also mentioned the $3 billion that was loaned by Moscow last November time, and said that that money has helped keep the economy afloat so far, because at that time it really was on the brink of bankruptcy, and also the gas discounts too. And she referred to this money as a lifeline that was provided by Russia at the time.
Yeah, you say at the time. How are things looking at the moment then?
Well, at the moment, as I say, we're looking at a contraction of some 3%. I mentioned the inflation as well, 14%. That means prices in general around the country are going to be going up, so people are going to feel it when they go to the till. As well as that, we've got foreign reserves 8 to 9 year low at the moment, and that basically means that the Treasury is empty. There's no money left. I want to mention the currency as well, because that's a huge pressure. It's lost around a fifth of its value so far this year. Now, we know that the EU too, they're going to be offering some $15 billion, but there's been a bit of resentment felt from EU citizens, because we've got to remember Ukraine isn't actually in the EU.
I think that the EU has made a wrong move by giving this money to Ukraine. There are many countries that desperately need EU's help, deserve this money because they belong to the EU and pay taxes here.
I think that it would be better if EU had given this money to support Greece. Then maybe we would have a chance to escape the crisis.
There's no one in Greece who hasn't been affected by the crisis. I still have a job, but I feel insecure due to cut-offs and the lack of social care.
So as you can hear there, resentment felt in the EU, and these cuts are bound to be unpopular within Ukraine when they're felt by the people.